Welcome to Green Ridge Metalworks. So today I thought I'd give you guys a little update, what's going on, a little bit about the shop, maybe talk about some questions that people are constantly asking. And from there, we'll see where it goes. Okay, couldn't be happier with the channel. We're approaching 7,000 subscribers, and by the time this video posts, I should be well over 7,000. And a lot of it is thanks to Levi and Jesse. These are my sons. Jesse's 15 and Levi's 17. And if you haven't already seen it, about a year and a half ago, they did a video where they made some anvils out of a scrap wheel, a solid steel wheel. Great video. It was their introduction to welding, stick welding. It was also their introduction to the mill. I'm real proud of them. That video hit a million views pretty fast. Go check it out. Their second video without help, that is going to be these post vices. They're building stands for them. Each of them is going to have their own post vice with a stand. And we use our post vice that we have in the shop non-stop. And we decided that we really need a station for each one of us. So that's going on. They're doing a great job. They've already cleaned up one vise and fixing to start construction on their stands. Proud of them. Some of you guys might be following my radial arm drill restoration. This is my Cincinnati Bickford radial arm drill. This thing was made in the 20s and it worked great all the way up to a few years back. I decided to tear it down and restore it. Just love the machine. I love the way it looks. I love the way it performed whenever I used to use it. Probably the only serious change to it will be a new drive, a new modern drive for it. This thing originally had a belt drive on it. But this will happen. Hopefully in the next few months I'll have this thing completely stripped and painted and maybe even running. We'll see. Now, one of the more common comments I get, and I get it a lot, is how could the viewers possibly afford equipment like mine? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. Well, first of all, that almost makes me laugh. These machines didn't cost me nowhere near hundreds of thousands of dollars. This machine in particular, I get a lot of comments on. This is a 1970s Clearman Jig Bore. I love this machine. It is a sweet machine. But the truth is, I only paid $700 for this machine. This was, like a lot of the other tools I have, bought at an estate auction. I only have one machine in the shop that I ever bought new, and it was a Chinese lathe, my 14x40 Chinese lathe. And I bought that thing 10 years ago, no, more like 15 years ago. And I think I only paid like $3,000 for it. That was my intro machine. That was the first machine I ever bought. After that, I did a lot of bargain shopping, and our mill is another example. Now this is my Brown and Sharp mill. It came from the same auction as the Jig Bore and the radial arm drill. This mill, I think I paid $350 for it. So I've had a few people suggest that I paid $10,000 to $20,000 for this mill. This is most likely from the 40s. I haven't dated it. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it. I know it's a good mill, and it will probably get a restoration in the future. But it's going to come after the radial arm drill. I need to get that one finished first. But this just goes to show you, you can get machines cheap. Watch Craigslist, go to state auctions, and pay attention to notices for machine shop auctions. Because sadly, there are a lot of machine shops that do go under, old manual machine shops, as the CNC wave takes over. You can't get these things cheap. While we're talking about getting tools cheap, my Kaiser Johnson bandsaw kind of fits the bill. This one here, I bought this saw at an auction. I think I paid $250 for it. It was in really sad shape. It required a complete rebuild. Now, I say complete rebuild. We never completely finished. It's still missing some guards, and it still needs a drip pan and a coolant pump. But otherwise, it's a great machine. And like I said, $250. I think after a complete rebuild, I only had about $400 in it. So they're out there. You can find them cheap. And if you're not willing to do a complete rebuild, you can always get a Harbor Freight saw or some other cheap brand. You can get smaller saws. You don't have to start off with such a big heavy-duty saw. Back in October, Levi and I got some great training. We attended Sandvik's 3-day training in Chicago. Sandvik puts on a 3-day training, I think once a month, in various locations across the country. But in this training, they teach you a lot about their carbide inserts. Now, carbide inserts, I thought I knew a lot before I went to this course, and I really didn't. There's so much more that you can learn from these people. They have great products and they have a great training program. Levi was super happy with everything he learned. I think he learned more from Sandvik in those 3 days in regards to tooling than I could have ever taught him here at the shop. A lot of it's because I had my own misconceptions, and a lot of it was just because they're better teachers. But I strongly recommend their training. Some of the things that I learned in that training that I never would have ever believed in a million years is just how hard you can really push tooling. A lot of these guys in these manual machine shops, we think we know what we're doing when we're running our tooling, but to tell you the truth, we're not pushing them nearly as hard as you can. And in reality, most manual machines could never meet the demands that the tooling itself can. The machine would stall out long before you push the tooling too hard. Now that's all in a perfect world where your setup is good and your machine is solid, but really, I hear a lot of people talking on YouTube about the best inserts and the right speeds and feeds. Once you see it in person at this training course, you just can't fathom how hard you can really push this tooling. So a lot of you guys are talking about, oh, you have to have CNMGs in your machine. The TNMGs are, they're not strong enough. Well, I got news for you. I've seen how far you can push a TNMG and it not break and it not wear out. It's incredible. So us small shops with manual machines, we don't really have to worry too much about tooling being not strong enough. Our machines can never, in my shop anyway, my machines could never overpower a TNMG. Now, if you don't know much about inserts, this is a great starting point because Levi had zero training with carbide inserts, very little work on the lathe or the mill, and he walked out of that 3-day training class knowing more than most long-term machinists. So it's a great training. You should check it out. Now, at the end of the 3-day training, they present you with a really nice completion certificate, and you get to walk away with some pretty nice swag. Oh, let me get this stuff out of the way. You get to walk away with some pretty nice swag. Check out this stuff. They give us this little neat little inspection magnifying glass. This is what you check your insert tips with. You can study how your wear is going. Pretty neat little magnifying glass. And a little magnetic tool organizer to go on your lathe or your mill. And some other odds and ends. A little flashlight, a tape measure, notebook, and a calendar. But all in all, I would rate this training, I'd rate it top of the list. It was a great training. We enjoyed it. There's a lot of great places to eat in Chicago too. So, I don't know. What did you think about it, Levi?
It was really good. I was actually really proud of what I walked away from it with. I learned more than I had imagined learning in a year. So, it was really cool. And yes, the food was definitely great.
Yeah, I agree. So, go check out Sandvik's training website. If you're not interested in taking a trip to Chicago or one of their other locations, they have a lot of online training. And yes, I do use TNMGs. That's why I'm taking up for them. A lot of the machinists out there just swear by CNMGs, but you only get 4 positions on a CNMG. Well, I've got 6 on my TNMG. And after going to this training, I promise you, I will never overpower this tooling. Never in a million years. Now, I never expected our channel to make 7,000 subscribers. When we began this channel, we were just goofing off in the shop and thought we'd share the experience. But now that it's there, I need to thank you guys for your views and thank you for your subscriptions and your constructive criticism, your comments, your praise. It's all been wonderful. And I really need to thank Levi and Jesse because without them, I couldn't have made any of these projects happen because I do work a full-time job. And without them helping me out in the shop, I wouldn't have time to have these projects. Now, we have a lot of neat ideas coming up, a lot of really cool projects. And I'd like to hear you guys' comments, what you like, what you don't like. If you have suggestions, please make them. Now, if you like this channel and you haven't already subscribed, I strongly encourage you to subscribe. We'll have a lot more content coming up in the next few weeks. So, I want to thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.